Understanding the impact of trauma on youth. National Center on Safe Supportive Learning Environments reports that trauma is defined as an event, series of events, or set of circumstances that is experienced by an individual as physically or emotionally harmful or life-threatening and that has a lasting adverse effect. Traumatic experiences come in many forms, ranging from one-time events to experiences that are chronic or even generational. Experiences become traumatic when they overwhelm our ability to cope. Exposure to trauma in childhood is common, and risk factors for exposure to more than one type is high. There are 4 categories of trauma. The first one is acute trauma, which refers to a one-time event. The second one is chronic trauma, which refers to traumatic experiences that are reported and prolonged. The third one is complex trauma, which refers to exposures to multiple traumatic events from an early age. And the fourth one is historical trauma, which refers to the collective and cumulative trauma experienced by a group across generations that are still suffering from the effects of trauma. Learning more about different types of experiences that may be traumatic for students, families, and their community helps broaden our understanding of trauma. The brain has a built-in alarm system designed to detect threat and keep us safe. When faced with the threat, the emotional brain takes over. A stress becomes traumatic when it overwhelms our stress response system, and a range of acute post-trauma responses are common. Trauma reminders or triggers sets off the alarm. Responses to the triggers may seem out of place and can be misunderstood by others. Key environmental and individual factors impact a child's response to trauma and risk for the negative effects. Most youth who experience a traumatic event do not develop significant mental health issues. However, some continue to struggle. Exposure to trauma can negatively affect student behavior, relationship, and academic performance. School staff working with students exposed to trauma are at a greater risk of being traumatized themselves. High rates of trauma among students and staff can have a significant negative effects on school climate, culture, and conditions for learning. In a trauma-sensitive school, all school staff recognize and understand students' responses to trauma and practices that support healing and resilience that are embedded school-wide. Baltimore Office of Sustainability reports that many large post-industrial urban areas has a high vacancy rates, high unemployment, and high crime rates. It was also reported that traumatic stress is one of the most reported consequences associated with youth exposure to community violence and is particularly prevalent among urban, low-income, ethnic minority youth. The community violence has escalated into a national public health crisis with urban youth. Data from the Baltimore City Health Department shows that in 2018, 31% of children in Baltimore, Maryland has experienced 2 or more advised childhood experiences. This chart shows the percentage of children between the ages of 0 to 17 with 2 or more parent-reported ACEs. 1 in 3 children ages 0 to 17 had experienced at least one parent-reported ACEs in their lifetime, including nearly 1 in 5 who experienced 1 ACE and 14.1% who experienced 2 or more ACEs. The most prevalent ACEs was the parent-guardian divorce or separation, followed by living with anyone who had an alcohol or drug problem and parent or guardian who's serving time in jail. Reports of ACE varied significantly by race, ethnicity, and household income. The percentage of children with 2 or more ACEs was highest among American Indian, Alaskan Native children, which was 36.2%, and low among Asian children, which was 6.0%. Across race ethnicity groups, and the percentage of children with 2 or more ACEs decreased as household income increased by 2. This chart shows the Federal Bureau of Investigation Crime in Baltimore, Maryland. The Baltimore, Maryland crime rate for 2018 was 1,833.39 per 100,000 population, a 9.55 decline from 2017. The Baltimore crime rate for 2017 was 2,027.01 per 100,000 population, a 13.85% increase from 2016. The Baltimore, Maryland crime rate for 2016 was 1,780.44 per 100,000 population, a 15.92% increase from 2015. The Baltimore, Maryland crime rate for 2015 was 1,535.93 per 100,000 population, a 14.75% increase from 2014. This graph shows the prevalence of mental health treatment and counseling among children ages 3 to 17 years old with a current mental health or behavioral health condition in 2018 to 2019. HRSA Maternal and Child Health reports that in 2018 to 2019, just over half of children ages 3 to 17 years old with the current mental or behavioral health condition received treatment or counseling from a mental health professional in the past year, and 42.8% took medication for an emotional, concentration, or behavioral condition. Receipts of treatment or counseling was high among children with depression, followed by children with anxiety and children with behavioral disorders. Receipts of treatment or counseling increased with age from 36.1% of children ages 3 to 5 years old to 60.2% of adolescents ages 12 to 17. Use of medication also increased with age from 15.2% of children ages 3 to 5 to 50.9% of children ages 12 to 17 years old.